Listen closely, my friends. The moment someone can predict your next reaction, they no longer need to defeat you. They've already found the invisible strings attached to your mind. Every burst of anger, every desperate search for approval, every sleepless night you spend replaying someone else's words becomes proof that your peace is no longer yours. The most dangerous prison is the one you don't even realize you're living in. Most people believe they are in control of their emotions. They are not. They are controlled by them, pulled in every direction by a single comment, a delayed reply, an unexpected silence, or the opinion of someone who will forget they exist by tomorrow. They call it personality. The Stoics called it slavery. More than 2,000 years ago, while an empire was collapsing around him, Marcus Aurelius fought a battle no sword could ever win. It wasn't against enemies beyond the walls. It was against the chaos inside his own mind. Night after night, he wrote reminders to himself, not because he was weak, but because even the strongest man on earth understood one terrifying truth. If you cannot govern your mind, nothing else can truly belong to you. This is not another motivational speech about staying calm. Calm can be faked. Real mastery cannot. What you are about to learn is a philosophy that transforms ordinary people into individuals who cannot be manipulated, cannot be emotionally controlled, and cannot be broken by the opinions of others. It is a discipline that has survived empires, wars, betrayals, and centuries of human weakness. Stay with me until the very end, because these 10 Stoic principles are not designed to make you feel better for a few minutes. They are designed to dismantle the version of you that has been unconsciously surrendering power for years, and replace it with someone the world can no longer control. Principle 1. Control the pause before the reaction. There is a moment so small that most people never notice it. A fraction of a second suspended between what happens to you and what you choose to do next. It is invisible, silent, and easily ignored. Yet hidden inside that tiny space is the difference between a person who rules his own mind and a person who spends his entire life being ruled by everyone else. The world doesn't control you with chains anymore. It controls you with reactions. One insult and you explode. One rejection and you begin questioning your worth. One delayed message and your imagination starts writing stories reality never approved. Every predictable reaction quietly hands another piece of your freedom to someone who never deserved it. Epictetus understood this long before psychology gave it a name. He said, "It is not what happens to you that disturbs you, but the judgment you make about what happens." Think about that for a moment. The event arrives first. Your suffering arrives second. Between those two moments, your mind writes a story. And most of the time, that story is far more painful than reality itself. Imagine someone reading your message but never replying. The fact is painfully simple. They didn't answer, but your mind refuses to leave the fact alone. It whispers, "They're losing interest. You said something wrong. They're replacing you." This relationship is over. Within seconds, your heartbeat changes, your chest tightens, and your peace disappears. Not because reality changed, but because your imagination declared war before the evidence even arrived. This is how emotional slavery begins, not with a dramatic tragedy, but with thousands of tiny reactions repeated every single day. Eventually, people don't even need to manipulate you anymore. They already know which words will trigger your anger, which silence will awaken your fear, and which criticism will make you doubt yourself. The moment they can predict your reaction, they already possess a part of your mind. Marcus Aurelius carried the weight of an empire while disease spread through Rome. Betrayal surrounded him, and war waited beyond every horizon. Yet in the middle of that chaos, he reminded himself of one timeless truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't promise comfort. He promised strength. Because strength is born in the moment you refuse to let the outside world decide who you become inside. So the next time life provokes you, don't rush to answer. Don't rush to defend yourself. Don't rush to prove your point. Protect the silence between the event and the response. Take one slow breath. Let your emotions speak, but don't let them make the decision. Because every time you master that single pause, you reclaim a piece of yourself the world has been trying to steal for years. And once you learn to protect that pause, something even more dangerous becomes possible. You begin to realize that your emotions are not the greatest deception your mind creates. The greatest deception is believing that every feeling you experience is the truth. That is where the second principle changes everything. Principle 2. Separate facts from the stories your mind invents. There is an invisible weapon your mind uses against you every single day. It is so quiet, so familiar, that you mistake it for reality itself. It doesn't attack with facts. It attacks with stories. And the terrifying part is this: your body reacts to those stories as if they were already true. A message goes unanswered. A friend walks past you without smiling. Someone's tone changes for a single sentence. These are only facts, small, ordinary, almost meaningless. But your mind refuses to leave them untouched. It becomes a novelist. It writes betrayal where there was only silence. It writes rejection where there was only distraction. It writes endings where life hasn't even finished the first chapter. This is why so many people are exhausted without fighting a single real battle. They are not suffering from reality. They are suffering from the movies constantly playing inside their own heads. Every fear becomes a prediction. Every doubt becomes evidence. Every possibility becomes certainty. And before a single truth is revealed, their peace has already been destroyed by an imagination that never learned the difference between danger and uncertainty. Epictetus warned humanity about this nearly 2,000 years ago. People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Read that again, slowly. He wasn't saying pain isn't real. He was saying the first wound is caused by life, but the second wound is almost always inflicted by your own interpretation. And for most people, that second wound is the one that never heals. Marcus Aurelius practiced something few people have the courage to do. Whenever emotion began taking control, he stripped every event down to its naked truth. No assumptions, no dramatic conclusions, no emotional decoration, just reality. Because reality is almost always lighter than the burden your imagination forces you to carry. Truth is quiet, fear is loud. Most people confuse the volume for the truth. Ask yourself this the next time anxiety begins tightening its grip around your mind. What do I actually know? And what am I merely assuming? That single question has the power to collapse entire worlds of unnecessary suffering, because assumptions demand panic, facts demand clarity, and clarity is something fear can never survive. Think back to the moments that kept you awake at night, the conversations you replayed 100 times, the disasters you were certain were coming. How many of them actually happened? Almost none. Yet your body carried the weight of every imaginary catastrophe as though it had already become reality. You paid for pain that life never charged you for. The Stoics understood something modern people still struggle to accept. Your mind is an extraordinary servant, but a ruthless master. Leave it unattended. and it will turn shadows into monsters, silence into rejection, and uncertainty into disaster. Discipline it, and that same mind becomes the greatest source of strength you will ever possess. Because once you stop believing every story your mind creates, another prison begins to reveal itself. A prison built not by your imagination, but by the opinions of other people. And escaping that prison changes everything. Principle 3. Never let other people's opinions become your identity. There is a prison so invisible that millions of people die inside it without ever realizing they were trapped. It has no walls, no chains, no locked doors. It is built from something far more dangerous: the desperate need to be accepted. The moment your peace depends on someone else's approval, your freedom no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the people whose opinions you fear the most. Think about how many decisions you've made that were never truly yours. The words you swallowed because you feared judgment. The dreams you abandoned because someone laughed. The version of yourself you performed just to avoid rejection. Little by little, you stopped asking, "Who am I?" and started asking, "Who do they want me to be?" That is how a soul disappears, not in a single moment, but in thousands of quiet compromises no one else ever notices. Marcus Aurelius warned himself about this constantly. Surrounded by senators, generals, and people desperate to influence him, he wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Notice the power hidden in those words. He wasn't trying to look virtuous. He wasn't chasing applause. He understood that the strongest character is built in private, long before the world ever has the chance to judge it. Most people believe criticism is what destroys them. It isn't. What destroys them is the meaning they attach to criticism. An insult is only sound. A hateful comment is only ink on a screen. An opinion is nothing more than another human being's temporary perception. Yet people carry those words for years, allowing a stranger's passing judgment to become the permanent voice inside their own heads. Diogenes understood freedom in a way that still terrifies modern minds. When Alexander the Great, the most powerful man alive, stood before him and offered to grant him anything he desired, Diogenes gave an answer history never forgot. "Step aside. You're blocking my sunlight." Imagine the level of inner freedom required to value peace more than power, truth more than approval, and your own soul more than the admiration of an emperor. That is not confidence. That is complete independence from the opinions of the world. Here is the uncomfortable truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding. The people whose opinions keep you awake at night are lying awake worrying about someone else's opinion. They are fighting battles you cannot see, carrying wounds you did not create, living inside fears that have nothing to do with you. You are sacrificing your peace for an audience too distracted to notice the performance. The Stoics understood a law that has never changed. If someone can control the way you see yourself, they never need to control your life directly. You'll do it for them. You'll shrink your ambitions before they criticize them. You'll silence your voice before they reject it. You'll betray your own values just to hear a few seconds of approval that disappears almost as quickly as it arrived. So ask yourself one question. Who would you become if nobody could applaud you and nobody could reject you? That answer is the closest thing you'll ever find to your real self. Because real character is not revealed when people are watching. It is revealed when there is no audience left to impress. And yet, even after you free yourself from the opinions of others, there is one enemy more powerful than every critic you'll ever meet. An enemy that has been with you since the day you were born, hiding behind your own reflection. Before you can master the world, you must first master the voice inside your own mind. Principle 4. Accept what you cannot control. There is a war almost every human being is fighting at this very moment, a war that cannot be won, not because you are weak, but because the battlefield itself was never yours. Every sleepless night spent arguing with the past, every hour wasted wishing someone had loved you differently, every silent prayer begging reality to rewrite what has already happened. This is not strength. It is resistance against a universe that has already moved on. The greatest tragedy is not that painful things happen. The greatest tragedy is that people spend years trying to negotiate with facts that no longer exist. They replay conversations that ended years ago. They rewrite endings that cannot be changed. They keep asking, "Why did this happen to me?" when the only question that can set them free is, "What will I become because it happened?" Epictetus divided the entire human experience into only two categories: what belongs to you and what never did. Your character belongs to you. Your choices belong to you. Your discipline belongs to you. But other people's decisions, time, death, betrayal, loss, the past, tomorrow, none of these have ever belonged to you. The moment you try to possess what was never yours, suffering quietly enters your life, wearing the mask of hope. Look carefully at your own pain. How much of it comes from the event itself, and how much comes from your refusal to accept that the event has already happened? A broken relationship hurts once. Reliving it every morning hurts 1,000 times. Failure happens in a moment. Refusing to let go can imprison you for decades. Reality wounds you once. Resistance keeps reopening the wound until it becomes your identity. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while plague swept through cities. Trusted friends betrayed him, and death waited around every corner. Yet he wrote words that still echo across centuries. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice what he chose to control. Not fate, not people, not circumstances. Only the one kingdom no one could ever invade, his own mind. Nature itself teaches this lesson better than any philosopher. A mighty oak fights the storm until it snaps. A river never argues with the mountain standing in its path. It simply changes direction and still reaches the ocean. The strongest people are not those who force reality to obey them. They are the ones who move with reality without ever surrendering their character. Most people think acceptance is weakness because they confuse it with giving up. It is the opposite. Acceptance is the moment you stop wasting your soul fighting closed doors and use that same energy to build a new path. It is not saying, "I like what happened." It is saying, "What happened will not decide who I become." That single decision transforms victims into warriors. Imagine if every ounce of energy you've spent trying to change someone else's mind, trying to erase your past, trying to control tomorrow, had been invested in becoming stronger instead. Your life would already be unrecognizable. This is why the Stoics never chased control over the world. They chased mastery over themselves, because a man who conquers himself becomes untouchable, even when life takes everything else away. But once you stop fighting reality, something extraordinary begins to happen. The pain that once threatened to destroy you starts revealing its true purpose. It was never sent only to hurt you. It was sent to forge you. Principle 5. Turn pain into discipline. There comes a moment in every life when pain stops asking for your permission. It walks in uninvited. It doesn't care how kind you were, how hard you prayed, or how carefully you planned your future. It takes the person you loved. It destroys the dream you spent years building. It leaves you standing in the ruins of a life you no longer recognize. And in that silence, pain asks only one question: will this break you, or will it rebuild you? Most people believe pain is the enemy. They spend years running from it, numbing it, distracting themselves from it, hoping time will erase what happened. But pain has a strange law. It follows those who flee from it. The wounds you refuse to face never disappear. They simply change shape. They become anger that poisons your relationships, fear that shrinks your ambitions, doubt that whispers every time opportunity knocks. Unhealed pain never stays where it was born. It quietly spreads into every corner of your life. Seneca understood something that almost sounds impossible until life forces you to learn it yourself. He wrote that fire tests gold, and adversity tests great souls. Think about that. Gold is never purified in comfort. Steel is never forged in cold air. Diamonds are never created without unimaginable pressure. Nature itself follows one unchanging law. Everything destined to become stronger must first survive what was meant to destroy it. Why should your character be any different? The people you admire most were not built by easy mornings or comfortable lives. They were built in hospital rooms where hope seemed impossible, in lonely nights when nobody answered the phone, in failures that humiliated them, in betrayals they never deserved. The difference is not that they suffered less. The difference is that they refused to let suffering become their identity. They transformed every scar into a lesson, every loss into discipline, every ending into the foundation of a stronger beginning. Marcus Aurelius left behind a sentence that has outlived empires because it contains one of the deepest truths ever written. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again, slowly. The obstacle is not delaying your path. The obstacle is your path. The betrayal teaches you discernment. Failure teaches preparation. Rejection teaches self-respect. Pain is not interrupting your growth. Pain is conducting it. Look back at the hardest season of your life, the one you thought would destroy you. You survived it. But surviving is not the real victory. The real question is this: did your pain become wisdom, or did it become bitterness? Because pain always leaves something behind. It either leaves a wound that controls your future, or it leaves a discipline that protects it. The choice is never made by life. It is made by you. Most people wait for motivation before they change. The Stoics never trusted motivation. They trusted discipline. Motivation rises and falls with emotion. Discipline remains when emotion has abandoned you. It wakes up before sunrise when comfort begs you to stay in bed. It keeps its word long after excitement has disappeared. It is the bridge between the person you are today and the person your suffering has been trying to create all along. So stop asking, why did this happen to me? Ask something far more dangerous. What part of me must die so that a stronger version can finally be born? That single question can transform tragedy into purpose, because pain is never the final chapter. It is the furnace where ordinary people become unrecognizable. But even after you've transformed pain into discipline, one enemy still remains. It doesn't live in your past. It doesn't live in other people. It lives inside your own mind. Every single day it speaks in your own voice. And unless you learn to master it, it can destroy everything you've worked so hard to build. Principle 6. Master your internal dialogue. There is someone who has spoken to you more than your parents, more than your closest friends, more than anyone who has ever entered your life. That voice has never taken a single day off. It has narrated every victory, magnified every failure, replayed every regret, and whispered into your mind before every important decision you've ever made. The question is not whether that voice exists. The question is, has it been telling you the truth? The most dangerous lies are never spoken by strangers. They are spoken in your own voice. I'm not good enough. I always fail. Nothing ever changes. Maybe I'll never become who I wanted to be. The terrifying part is that after hearing these sentences enough times, you stop questioning them. They no longer sound like thoughts. They begin to sound like facts. And when a lie repeats itself for years, the mind quietly mistakes it for identity. Marcus Aurelius understood that the greatest battlefield was never Rome. It was the human mind. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke." Think about that word, revoke. Not ignore, not suppress, revoke. As if your mind has been signing the same contract with fear every day, when in reality you always had the authority to tear it apart. Your inner voice is like water flowing over stone. One sentence changes nothing, but repeat the same thought every single day for years, and eventually it carves your entire identity. Tell yourself you're weak often enough, and you'll begin avoiding challenges before they even arrive. Tell yourself you're unworthy often enough, and you'll settle for relationships that slowly destroy you. Your future is rarely built by one dramatic decision. It is built by the quiet sentences you repeat when nobody else is listening. Seneca believed the mind should be governed the way a wise king governs his kingdom, not with cruelty, not with chaos, but with discipline, because a kingdom without a ruler eventually falls into the hands of invaders. Your fears know this. Your doubts know this. Your insecurities know this. The moment your attention drifts, they begin ruling your thoughts as if they were the rightful kings of your life. Ask yourself something painfully honest. If another person spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would you allow them to remain in your life? Would you tolerate someone constantly reminding you of your worst mistakes, predicting your failure, questioning your worth every single day? Of course not. Yet millions of people wake up every morning carrying that exact voice inside their own minds, believing it deserves to stay simply because it sounds familiar. The Stoics never tried to silence the mind. They trained it. Every destructive thought was placed on trial. Is this true? Where is the evidence? Is this wisdom? Or is this fear pretending to be wisdom? That single habit separates those who are ruled by emotion from those who rule themselves. Because thoughts are like visitors. Not every visitor deserves a seat at your table. Some deserve nothing more than a closed door. Never forget this. The quality of your life will never rise above the quality of the conversations you have with yourself. Every empire is built twice, first in the mind, then in reality. If your inner world is ruled by fear, your outer world will eventually collapse with it. But if your inner world is governed by discipline, truth, and courage, there is almost nothing outside you that can truly defeat you. And yet, mastering your inner voice is still not the final step, because even after you stop believing your own lies, another danger remains. The thoughts you choose to feed. Every thought grows where attention goes. Whatever you nourish eventually begins to control you. Principle 7. Stop feeding negative thoughts. Not every thought deserves your attention, yet most people spend their entire lives treating every thought as if it were a command. A single fear enters the mind, and they entertain it. A single doubt appears, and they feed it. A single painful memory returns, and they build a home for it. They never realize that the mind grows whatever it is repeatedly given. Your attention is not free. It is the most valuable currency you possess. Imagine planting two seeds in the same soil. One is fear, the other is courage. You water only one of them every single day. Which one will eventually take over the garden? The answer is obvious. Yet this is exactly what millions of people do inside their own minds. They replay insults instead of victories. They rehearse disasters instead of possibilities. They relive yesterday's pain instead of building tomorrow's strength. Then they wonder why peace never visits them. Marcus Aurelius warned himself of this trap with remarkable simplicity. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Think about the weight of those words. Your future is not shaped only by your actions. It is shaped by the thoughts you repeatedly choose to keep alive. Every thought you entertain becomes a vote for the person you are slowly becoming. The mind has a terrifying habit. It cannot always distinguish between what is happening and what is being imagined. Replay a betrayal often enough, and your body releases the same stress as if it were happening again. Imagine failure every day, and your heart prepares for defeat before life has even asked you to compete. This is why so many people arrive exhausted at battles that never actually took place. They fought them thousands of times inside their own imagination. The Stoics understood something modern society keeps forgetting. Attention is nourishment. Whatever you feed survives. Whatever you starve eventually dies. Fear survives because you keep returning to it. Anger survives because you keep replaying the insult. Regret survives because you refuse to stop visiting a past that can no longer hear your apology. Nothing controls you forever unless you continue feeding it. Seneca compared the undisciplined mind to a fire left unattended. At first, it burns only a few dry leaves. Ignore it long enough, and it consumes the entire forest. Negative thoughts behave exactly the same way. One small doubt becomes hesitation. Hesitation becomes inaction. Inaction becomes regret. Regret becomes an identity. And before you realize what happened, your entire future has been quietly shaped by a single thought you should have refused to entertain from the beginning. The strongest people are not those who never experience negative thoughts. They are the ones who refuse to build a throne for them. When fear knocks, they listen, but they don't invite it inside. When anger speaks, they hear it, but they don't let it make decisions. When anxiety predicts disaster, they acknowledge it, then continue walking anyway. That is what mental discipline looks like. Not the absence of darkness, but the refusal to let darkness become your guide. So ask yourself one final question. What have you been feeding every single day? Your courage or your fear? Your purpose or your excuses? Because every thought you nourish is quietly constructing the person you will become 5 years from now. Your destiny is not built by one extraordinary decision. It is built by the ordinary thoughts you choose to keep alive every single day. But there is one attachment even more dangerous than fear itself. It has destroyed kings, broken warriors, and enslaved minds for centuries. It is the endless desire for more approval, more control, more possessions, more certainty. Until you conquer that desire, true freedom will always remain just beyond your reach. Principle 8. Desire less, live more. There is a hunger that no amount of success can satisfy. It has destroyed kings who ruled continents, millionaires who owned everything money could buy, and ordinary people who spent their entire lives chasing a finish line that kept moving farther away. The cruelest part is this: they never realized they were starving, because the greatest addiction is not to pleasure. It is to more money, more recognition, more followers, more praise, more certainty, more control. You tell yourself that once you have just one more thing, then you'll finally be at peace. But peace built on one more never arrives. Desire is like drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become. You don't escape the prison, you simply decorate the cell. The Stoics saw through this illusion long before the modern world turned it into an industry. Every advertisement whispers the same lie: you are incomplete until you own this. Every comparison convinces you that someone else's life is proof your own is lacking. Slowly, without noticing, your happiness stops depending on who you are and starts depending on what you can acquire. That is not ambition. That is psychological captivity disguised as success. Seneca wrote words that still expose the modern world with brutal honesty. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Read that again. Poverty is not always an empty wallet. Sometimes it is a mind that cannot enjoy what it already possesses. A man with everything can still live like a beggar if his desires never stop demanding more. Look at your own life. How many things did you once pray for that you barely notice today? The phone you desperately wanted, the opportunity you thought would change everything, the relationship you believed would complete you. You reached them, celebrated them. Then your mind quietly moved the finish line again. This is the oldest trick desire has ever played. It never lets you arrive. It only convinces you to keep running. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the value of your life is measured by the quality of your thoughts, not the quantity of your possessions. He ruled the greatest empire on earth, yet constantly practiced living as though everything external could disappear tomorrow. Why? Because the man who can lose everything and still remain himself is a man the world can never truly threaten. Imagine waking up tomorrow with only the things you appreciated today. How much would remain? That question exposes a truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Gratitude is not simply a beautiful emotion. It is an act of rebellion against a world that profits from making you feel incomplete. Every moment you choose contentment over endless craving, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. The Stoics never said you shouldn't pursue greatness. They warned you never to become dependent on it. Build wealth, but don't worship it. Love people, but don't possess them. Chase excellence, but never tie your identity to outcomes that life can take away in a single moment. Own your desires before they begin owning you, because in the end, freedom does not belong to the person who has the most. Freedom belongs to the person who needs the least, and when nothing outside of you is required to complete you, fear loses its greatest weapon. But there is still one final chain that even disciplined people struggle to break. It is heavier than fear, deeper than desire, and more dangerous than pain itself. It is your attachment to the version of yourself that no longer exists. Principle 9. Let go of who you used to be. There is one burden almost everyone carries, yet almost no one can see. It isn't your past. It isn't your failures. It isn't even the people who hurt you. It is your attachment to a version of yourself that no longer exists. You keep introducing yourself to the world through old wounds, old mistakes, old identities, as if yesterday has the authority to decide who you are today. But the past has only one source of power, the one you keep giving it. Some people are still living inside a heartbreak that ended years ago. Others are trapped inside a failure that lasted only a single day. Some still define themselves by a childhood they never chose, while others cannot escape the image of the person they once were. Slowly, without realizing it, they stop living in the present. Their body moves forward through time, but their mind remains chained to memories that can no longer be changed. Marcus Aurelius understood that life is in constant motion. He reminded himself that everything you see is already changing, even you. Nothing in nature stays the same. Rivers never hold the same water twice. Trees shed their leaves without mourning them. Stars are born, and stars collapse. Change is not the exception to life. Change is life. The only thing unnatural is refusing to let yourself evolve. Think about a snake. It cannot grow while clinging to its old skin. The very thing that once protected it eventually begins to suffocate it. Human beings are no different. The identity that helped you survive yesterday may be the very identity preventing you from thriving today. The version of you that was built from fear, rejection, insecurity, or pain cannot become the version that lives with freedom. Something old must die before something greater can be born. Epictetus taught that no one can begin a new way of living while remaining attached to old judgments. Every day you wake up believing, "This is just who I am." You quietly lock the prison door from the inside. But character is not carved into stone. It is shaped by choices repeated over time. You are not imprisoned by your history. You are imprisoned by your loyalty to a history that no longer exists. Ask yourself something that may change your life forever. If you had no memories of your failures, no labels placed on you by other people, no stories about who you were, who would you choose to become today? That answer is far closer to your true self than the identity you've been defending for years, because your future is never asking for permission from your past. Only you are. The Stoics believed that every sunrise offered a quiet invitation to begin again. Not because yesterday didn't matter, but because yesterday had already completed its purpose. It had taught you what it came to teach. Carrying the lesson is wisdom. Carrying the wound forever is a choice. There is a profound difference between remembering your past and living inside it. So today, let the old version of you go. Let go of the fear that kept you silent. Let go of the guilt that kept you looking backward. Let go of the identity built from pain instead of purpose. Because the greatest transformation in life does not happen when you become someone else. It happens when you finally stop clinging to someone you've already outgrown. And once you've released the weight of your past, only one final lesson remains. It is the lesson that separates those who merely understand Stoicism from those who truly live it. It is the quiet power of becoming completely unshakable, no matter what life places in your path. Principle 10. Become untouchable by fate. One day, life will ignore every plan you've carefully made. It will close doors you were certain would open. It will take people you thought would stay forever. It will destroy routines you believed were permanent. And in that moment, the question will no longer be how successful you are. The only question that will matter is, who are you when everything you depended on disappears? Most people build their lives on things they can never truly keep. Wealth can vanish overnight. Beauty fades without asking permission. Reputation changes with a single rumor. Relationships can end despite your deepest loyalty. Health can disappear between one heartbeat and the next. Yet people gamble their entire identity on these fragile things. Then, when fate inevitably changes its direction, they don't just lose what they had, they lose themselves. The Stoics refused to place their peace in the hands of fortune. They understood a truth so powerful that most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. Anything that can be taken from you should never become the foundation of who you are. Because if your happiness depends on something temporary, then your suffering begins the moment you fear losing it. Marcus Aurelius woke up every morning knowing that the empire he ruled could collapse, the people he loved could die, and his own life could end before sunset. Yet instead of living in fear, he became fearless. Why? Because he practiced loving his character more than his circumstances. He understood that fate can strip a man of his possessions, but it cannot steal his courage unless he willingly hands it over. Imagine a mountain standing in the middle of a violent storm. The winds scream against it. Rain crashes into its surface. Lightning tears across the sky. Yet when the storm finally passes, the mountain is still standing. Not because the storm was weak, but because its foundation reached deeper than the chaos above it. This is the Stoic ideal. Do not pray for a life without storms. Become the mountain they cannot move. There is a quiet freedom that only a few people ever experience. It arrives when you no longer fear losing what life gave you. You still love deeply, but without clinging. You still work passionately, but without becoming a slave to results. You still dream boldly, but your peace no longer rises and falls with success or failure. This is not emotional coldness. It is emotional sovereignty. Epictetus said, "Never say about anything, 'I have lost it,' but only, 'I have returned it.'" Read those words carefully. Every person you love, every opportunity you receive, every breath you take, none of them were permanent possessions. They were gifts entrusted to you for a little while, and when you understand that, gratitude replaces entitlement, courage replaces fear, and peace replaces desperation. Now look back at the journey you've taken. You learned to pause before reacting. You separated facts from the stories your mind invented. You broke free from the opinions of others. You accepted what you could not control. You transformed pain into discipline. You mastered your inner dialogue. You stopped feeding destructive thoughts. You desired less and lived more. You released the person you used to be, and now you stand where very few people ever choose to stand. Not because life has become easier, not because suffering has disappeared, but because you have changed. The world may still insult you, but it cannot define you. It may still test you, but it cannot break you. It may still take things from you, but it cannot take you. Because the greatest victory in Stoicism was never controlling the world. It was becoming the one thing the world could never control. And perhaps that is the greatest freedom a human being can ever attain. The moment this video ends, the world around you will remain exactly the same. The same people, the same challenges, the same uncertainty. But if you truly understood these principles, you will never see the world the same way again. Because real transformation is always invisible before it becomes undeniable. Life will continue to test you. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Fear will return. But now you know the greatest enemy was never outside you. It was the part of your mind that believed the world had the power to control your peace. The moment you master your mind, you take that power back forever. So don't try to change your entire life overnight. Choose one principle. Practice it every single day until it becomes part of your character. Because strength is never built in one extraordinary moment. It is built through thousands of ordinary decisions that no one sees. And remember this: no one can steal the peace you refuse to surrender. No one can control the mind you have learned to govern, and no one can break the person who has mastered himself. That is the true meaning of Stoicism. That is true freedom. If this message spoke to you, don't leave it here. Carry it into your next conversation, your next challenge, your next difficult moment, because your greatest battle was never against the world. It has always been within yourself. Protect your mind, master yourself, and let nothing outside you decide who you become.